Welcome back to Ma's Garage.
I'm Kev.
I'm Crick.
And I'm Smokey.
On this episode, we'll be talking about sobriety and addiction.
So grab a log
and join us by the fire.
At the core of it, a human is an individual a social individual that requires entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even if you're living by yourself, you're doing something that is entertaining your interest.
You can learn from entertainment too. Like, think about all the good messages and themes that are in the different animes that we watch or the different movies we watch. Like, it's comedy on the forefront, but deep down, you're learning a lesson. You're learning a lesson about working together. You're working a lesson about community. You know what I mean? Same thing. Like
doing the right thing, standing up,
right,
even when it's the hard thing to do.
There's an anime on Netflix, Shaman King, that was recommended me to by my little brother. It's really, I like it, but a piece that is very annoying that I always find annoying in a lot of these animes is like the bad guys crew that feels like they're just like the most powerful people in the universe because they're the bad guys crew.
I'm gonna wipe out this whole place. Everything you see is gonna be rubble. Just one shot and you're all dead. Hope you're ready, Chief. Cause I'm about to send all you little wimps straight to hell!
They're somehow stronger than all the rest of the people because they're with the bad guys crew, and they feel like they can bully, they feel like they can control, they feel like it really sets it up for them getting knocked down by the good side. Like, I understand where it's coming from. I guess just because I've seen it in so many of the animes, like they go over the top on it sometimes. Like this one that I, like watching Shaman King last night, and the girl's just like, oh, let's just kill him. Let's just kill him. Like, why don't we just kill him? Like they don't have to be alive. Let's just kill him. And I'm just like, they just demonstrated that they could go toe to toe with you. But then, of course, they were suppressing their power. And it's like, oh, no. You know what? I'm sick of them talking. Like, I'm just going to kill them real quick. But then luckily, like someone that's like more powerful than them, like rushes in and is like, hey, you said something about killing someone. And it's very corny at times, but I understand why they do it that way because the kids love it.
Well, there's a theory for that. That's actually a true documented thing that happens in society. I can't think of the name of it. It was two people who did a study on it that's named after, but it's this theory that the less intelligent you are, the more confident you are in your abilities. So the more intelligent you grow, and the more you know, the more you understand that you know nothing. You know what I mean? It's that same kind of quote. So
it's a humbling thing.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you are ignorant and you don't know much, you're super confident in your abilities and sometimes overconfident. And that's why you see people move up in the business world to these grand positions who don't know anything of what they're doing because they know how to sell themselves. But once you start learning how little you know, it can be stifling. It can be like, it can put you down. So that right there is a lesson to watch out for your ignorance. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's I've been like deep diving that recently because I'm the same. I have a lack of confidence, even though people appreciate my abilities, but I have a hard time appreciating them myself.
And I feel like just being humble, it's hard to like show a personal appreciation because when you're humble, it's so much easier to just show general appreciation towards other people because that's what being humble is.
Right. Being just accepting of your own abilities and that not overestimating your abilities. But I think there's even moderation to that too, because if you don't appreciate your skills, yes, you don't know everything, but if you don't appreciate the things you do know, it can stop you from doing great things because you're oh, someone else can do it better.
Humble yourself.
Yeah. You get that mentality where it's like, I'm not the right person for this. So then you just kind of the hamster wheel spins like, what are you the right person that you can do?
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, you just got to start and learn and continue and repeat.
Historically speaking, though, haven't some of our greatest accomplishments as humans come from people who were overconfident in their abilities and accidentally made something awesome?
I mean, you can look at Elon Musk as an example. Well, I don't think he's the most educated person, that he's been through a lot of like schooling and stuff, but the guy's extremely confident in his ability. He knows a ton through his experience, and he puts like 16-hour days a day into what he loves.
So there's educated and intelligent. You know what I mean? There are two different things. Like the world can be
two different sides of the same coin.
Right. The world can be your lesson. It's how you view it. Are you open to learning from the experiences? Are you taking it in, or are you just bulldozing through life? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's where I've only had like, like 2 years of college before I kind of dipped out. And like, but I have a lot of people that commend me on like my vocabulary and the things that I use, but it's because I'm like a sponge. I like to receive information from everything and from everybody. Like you can learn a lesson from everybody. It's just, you can choose to learn it.
That's the trick. You have to be able to listen instead of or wait your turn to say what you want to say.
Right. Like dictating the world.
And you do find yourself in a lot of those situations where like you're just having a conversation, you want to say something, but like you're trying to listen to what they say, but at the same time remember what you wanted to say. And then sometimes you go into a different direction, then you completely forgotten what you wanted to say. It may have been something important, but it wasn't said.
That's how I feel like it ties it back into substances, because like that's the battle that I've been going with lately is like, I don't need to control everything around me. I don't need to control how my life's going. I don't need to control every little thing that, like, we have this need to control and understand and dictate our whole world around us, but not necessary. Just live life, just be in the moment. Like good and bad is going to happen to you. And you know what I mean? Like just experience it. And if you're too busy trying to control the experience, you're not experiencing the experience. And like, so taking substances when it's like, oh, I don't want to be tired at this moment. Well, maybe if you were tired, you would sit back and listen a little bit more instead of being pumped up on caffeine and over rambling to people. You know what I mean? Like just live in that experience, live in the moment.
I think it's because at the heart, human wants to be the creator and wants to be like the one that was in charge of what was being created, that and whatnot. But there comes a point where you have to be able to just appreciate things that other people and that other beings just in general have created.
Right. You need that input too. And I mean, you can't create unless you have that inspiration. You need something to fuel that. And like, that same thing that happens with all of our episodes too. It's like, it's wild how conversations I had 2 weeks before with other people and things that they've told me fit so perfectly to what we talk about. And if I wasn't listening or didn't have that conversation, I wouldn't have the input to regurgitate. You know what I mean? Like we're accumulation of the people we meet.
It could also be because they are more recent, because you did just have that conversation like a couple of weeks ago.
Right. But I mean, I feel like any of your thoughts are accumulations of inputs, whether it's something you read, something, a conversation people had with you. It is the more recent they told you, the more prevalent it probably is in your mind too.
I'm going to say something that you guys will probably disagree with, but humans are not creative on their own. We can't make things that we've never seen. All we do is imitate. This is actually from the book that you got me, Smokey, for Christmas, where they were saying, when the first man climbed out of the tree and went out into the wilderness where everything could kill them, they watched the other animals and learned what they did. They found water by following animals to the water. They learned how to hunt by watching other animals hunt. And we constantly take stuff that we see and smash it all together into something new.
Just using that example, think about like the growth of a human from baby to adult. Like the baby, when it's a baby, is just watching things happen. Yeah, it's gonna do things a little bit, like it's gonna crawl, whatever, whatnot. But as it grows up, it's just gonna imitate what it's seeing. So relatively speaking, if you have a baby, you just put it in a room, like you feed it so it like grows and stuff, but you don't like let it like enact it, don't let it like imitate or like witness anything. When it's a kid, it's not going to do anything because it hasn't known anything to do.
There's sadly cases like that where it's super detrimental to the kid's health. Like without stimuli, like, you know what I mean? It's not good for your mental health and it'll deteriorate. You need inputs. It kind of ties back into that short film that I sent you guys too, where the guy had an original idea.
I was asleep. And I woke up from this blast of light behind my eyes, you know? And then it was like 1,000,001 migraines hit me all at the same time for like 10 seconds. And then there was like this pressure inside my skull, like my brain was trying to push right through my head. And at the end of it, I had the most incredible idea.
Well, what is it?
Huh?
Tell me your idea.
So I did. So help me God, I told her. And so that's it. That's the idea. Michelle? Are you okay? Michelle?
It's so simple. It's beautiful.
Humans couldn't handle an
Comprehend it.
original, like just an original idea, you know.
They're like, that's never been thought of before.
What? They're like, it's so good. It's so great.
simple.
Boom. Like,
That is funny.
yeah, and you see that too, where like some people are, like narcissists are kind of that way, where maybe that's part of that, is that they can't have an idea that's an outside idea. They need you to sell that idea that it was their idea, that it was their kind of
Yes.
input.
That's the only way it's a
Well,
good idea.
because it has to
Yeah.
directly affect them, and it has to almost directly benefit them.
Right. I had a conversation recently too about learning lessons in life. How, like, people who can be mentors and stuff can teach you a lesson. And there's certain lessons that you can kind of grasp on, and like, don't stick your finger in a light socket. But there's other ones like, you probably won't marry your high school sweetheart. No, we love each other. We're going to be together forever. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's some things that you have to learn from experience, you know, and you have to learn from actually going through it. No matter how many times people tell you, sometimes we need that actual interaction in our life for that lesson to kick in.
Somebody used to say that we went to middle school with life's tough, get a helmet.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
But I mean, you
basically.
got to let people fall to understand, right?
Right.
Sometimes.
Gotta be okay with falling yourself too. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to be safe all the time. Life's gonna kick your butt. And someone was telling me that recently too. It's there's a song about it, like 100 good stories or 100 something like that. But it's like the bad things that happen to you are terrible in the moment. Like, it just seems like the worst thing ever. But down the road, they're funny and they're hilarious, and they're things that you can talk about and grow upon. But in the moment, they seem so bad. But just give it time. Time will heal it and turn it into something more palatable.
Going back to what you said about the high school sweetheart, I've been having a thought every now and then, like someone that essentially has only dated one person marries that one person. Like, they've only known one person in terms of like a relationship. So what, like, if you did, like, if it was like an unspoken rule, like you married your high school sweetheart, if you had almost like a Rumspringa, where you had like a period of time that you and your significant other, you could just go nuts, like see what other people are like no transgressions. And then when you're done with the Rumspringa, come back and you're like, okay, I can value you because you're not like, this person ate bats, like this person did this. Like, you can appreciate what the person that you love offers, as opposed to other people that you don't love and what they don't offer.
Well, that's becoming more popular now too. Polyamory is like, as someone who's
It's been
sadly on dating websites, that's huge.
Thing.
Like, yeah, like everybody's like, yeah, I'm in a relationship, but it's an open relationship. And it's like, that's something on its own. Like, I'd have a really hard time
Like the
being with
70s.
somebody.
And it's
Yeah.
because like the values and traditions that like we were taught and we grew up with, like our parents weren't in open relationship, at least as far as we knew.
Yeah, technically.
Like they weren't in. They weren't in open relationships. Like they just devoted their time, their focus to their one significant other. And going like as we've kind of grown up and learned about like more people that have allowed like open relationships, like celebrity couples that do open relationships, and just the whole poly deal in general, just seeing that different perspective.
Right. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. That's where I feel like it's not for everybody's nothing's for everybody, because there are stories I hear about people in polyamorous relationships that it doesn't work. It's a huge thing of trust, and some people it works great for, but it's like, it's just, you can't see anybody else's life and be like, okay, that's just how I'm going to live. You know what I mean? You can't, like, you have to find what works for you and find someone who resonates with what you need out of life. You know what I mean? Like if you're introvert, extrovert.
Yeah. At the same token, you can't look at them and say, I can't believe they're living like that.
Exactly.
Because I mean, how does it affect you? Right.
I can't fathom how they could do that. Cool.
Really?
Ask questions, learn, but you don't have to judge them for it. Like that.
You could ask questions, or at the same time, like, really, you can't fathom, like, put yourself in their situation.
Right.
Like take yourself out of your bubble.
That's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for most people.
Hard for a lot of people.
I think that's fear though too, is people like fear the unknown. You know what I mean? There is some,
and they're comfortable with their own bubble.
Right. And it's like, if you fear that though, you might not learn something about yourself. Like you may not understand where someone's coming from, but they could explain it to you, and then that could be your thing. You know what I mean? That you just never knew was a thing, because you've never had anybody tell you that that's actually an option.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, when you open yourself up to learn and stop being so afraid of changing what you see as a normal, like that gives you the opportunity to better express yourself and learn what you enjoy and like your life a little bit better.
And especially like you see the difference in like the stuff that you have and some stuff that other people don't have, and you just want to help get them to your level.
Right. But they may be comfortable on their level. You know what I mean? They might not want to be rich. They might not want to be in that place.
Like it comes down to what's driving you. Like, is that more you want them on your level, or do they want to be on your level? They just need help.
Right.
Or want help.